What's up, comic book fans? Pete here from Comic Books Transformed, where me and my good friend Brian over there discuss comics that have been adapted into streaming shows and into movies. Coming late into 2026, we're almost into March, is our best of 2025 episode. Now, one thing I want to preface this with is we are not talking about the best shows or movies that we watched in 2025 because they aren't necessarily comic book shows, right? We're talking about stuff that we mainly covered on our channel, and there's actually two glaring options that we did not cover on our channel that we thought we should put on this list as well. Yeah. So, Brian, would you say just off the bat that if you were to make a 2025 best of list, would it have the same group of shows, or would there be more things that are not comic book related?
There are definitely some things that I, especially like horror related things, like Sinners would be real high up for me. I don't know, man. I don't know how I would play something like that in this list.
Yeah,
very high, but like, yeah. So there are definitely things that I watched and seen this in 2025 that I wasn't able to put on this list because we did not cover them.
Yeah.
And like you said there, we wait. Did you say what we're covering that we didn't cover, or?
I said I said that there were two things that we didn't talk about on our show, but it's like we should have. And
yes.
I'm not sure why that happened. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm just gonna say those right now. So that was Thunderbolts, which I think we just didn't have the time for. Like we both saw it on time, and then we just didn't have time to record it. Maybe there was too many shows going on at the same time. And then the other was Predator Badlands, which I saw a little bit later than you, probably like 2 weeks later. And I think you guys did it on the Lastercast, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Right. So we're going to include those two on here, Predator Badlands and Thunderbolts. One other thing that I think we'll point out by the time we're done with our list are some of the things that we covered on our show that like didn't make the cut. But I'm very curious as to what made the cut on yours, Brian, and what made the cut on mine. I feel like we could almost have a 10 for 10 of the same, but I feel like there's going to be like one or two differences.
Oh no! Now that you said that, it's going to be completely different. But I guarantee you, 1 and 2 are going to be the same. I guarantee it.
Okay, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
But I think everything else is going to be a little more mixed up. So without further ado, let's get into my number 10, which is, and I honestly struggle with this here. So we had 14 things that we could have done. And I struggled with fitting in this last one. I was pretty confident about everything else. But the last one, I was like, I guess. So okay. I have The Last of Us Season 2 as number 10.
Okay.
Was this on your list at all?
So here's the thing. It was my number 10 until you were like, oh, hey, X-Men 97 counts for this year too.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, then it's my number 10. All right.
No, X-Men 97 counts for Disney Plus shows. Which we made that was 2024, wasn't it?
Okay. So then
wait a minute. Am I crazy?
No. X-Men is 2024. Yeah, all right. So then we're synced up totally though. My number 10 is Last of Us Season 2 then.
Okay, that's 2024. Yes. Okay. Whew. Okay.
So Last of Us.
Yeah. So I kind of struggle with this. I mean, I did like it. There are still positives in there. I definitely can see why the majority of people rebelled against this show. With and same way the people rebelled kind of against the game. The early death of Joel, and the idea of having this show without Pedro Pascal, and then kind of being anchored by Bella Ramsey, Ellie, didn't sit well with a lot of people. And I think she was did an exceptional job as the younger Ellie in season 1 here, but I think struggled a little bit with carrying the weight of that character as compared to the games for the second season here. So it was still good. But I didn't feel as strongly about it as I did the first season, which I think a lot of people would agree with.
Yep. Every single thing you just said, I actually completely agree with. I think that there were some moments in this season that were like these excellent moments that keep it as a number 10 on my list. in particular, there's that episode where I think it's the second to last episode where it just basically goes through Ellie's birthdays and her time with Joel while he's still alive.
Oh yeah,
that episode was really, really good. If we had had a couple more episodes like that, this would have been maybe in the top 3 for my list.
Yeah. And the other thing that really kind of captured this being a little lower on this list was that I think they envisioned this as having a 4-season show, and they've kind of confirmed this is the 3rd season is it. And I think that makes sense. I think that there's enough content definitely for a full season, but maybe a little too overstuffed, because they will have to jump back to a decent amount of Ellie in season 3. It can't fully be Abby, but there wouldn't have been enough for a 4th season. So, okay. But I think the fact that they decided to truncate the show down by a season shows that they have a lot less confidence in the show than they did previously.
Yeah. I don't really see a lot of people talking about it right now, whereas after the first season, there was quite the buzz about it. So yeah, a lot of things
I see is I'm going to be a dad.
Right.
More about it.
Right. There's all these Bella Ramsey memes out there, and it's funny, right? Because when you make this list, you're like, oh, was this year that great? And then I looked at my top 10. I'm like, shit, yeah, this is a really good year. There's a couple on here where like they wouldn't have made the cut in previous years, but I think that happens just with when you have 10. There's like a solid, I'd say 5 on here at least. But yeah.
I would say that too. And I just want to point out too that I think we did have a top 10 last year, but then the year before that we only did a top 5 because we didn't cover that much.
Oh yeah. We've been pretty prolific, but we should also point out that these basically break down into like 3 different categories, right? There's DCU projects, which this was the year that 2025 was the year that the DCU really like kicked it off. Then there's the Amazon like comic book adaptations that are just great, and then there's the MCU stuff. That's pretty much it, with maybe like 1 or 2 stragglers on here. Yep. But that's pretty much the gist of my list. Hey, that rhymes. Also, one last thing before I shut up is that Brian just said, Danny and I covered Sinners on our channel, The Lassercast. I have a top 10 for horror movies over on that channel. You can go check that out on The Lassercast. And then pretty much everything we talk about today, except for Thunderbolts and Predator Badlands, we've covered on this channel. So if you think that we're interesting, go check out those reviews. All right, Brian, I'm going to shut up. I want to see if your number 9 matches my number 9.
Okay, this is where we may get controversial. I don't know, but number 9, I have Daredevil Born Again Season 1.
Number 9, I have Daredevil Born Again Season 1.
Yes! All right, here we go.
Yeah.
I think we kind of touched upon this in one of our last reviews about kind of there's this like edgy Disney version of Daredevil there that's kind of there. I think that you can definitely tell that they did a big like rewrite change. I think that was pretty public, and watching it as a whole, you kind of can see that it was a mishmash of ideas and stories, and they kept some things and started from scratch elsewhere. That being said, I've heard that season 2, which is coming up next month, is a lot more cohesive, and didn't have to go back to a writer's room or any kind of rebranding. So I'm very excited for it, and I hope it's better than season 1 is.
Yeah, for this show, and this is reflected in our reviews, I feel like it has a very, very strong beginning where there's that Bullseye assassination attempt, and then Daredevil and Bullseye fight throughout that bar, ending with Daredevil just pushing Bullseye off the roof. Great fucking opening sequence. There's a couple other highs throughout the season, but overall, it always feels like it's just one step behind greatness. Like it could be really good. It's just got that, what you mentioned before, that sort of that, like, oh, we're gritty, but we're Disney feel, and it's never going to be great because of that. A lot of people think that episode where he's at the bank with Kamala Khan's father is the weakest episode of the season. I ended up liking that episode a lot. Kind of reminded me of just like a comic written by Mark Waid. But yeah, I mean, there's a reason why it's number 9 on our list, right?
Yeah, and like I said, I have high hopes for season 2 would come out very soon, which we'll be covering.
Okay, perfect. All right, I feel like number 8 is going to be where we differ finally.
Ooh, okay. All right, so number 8 is the first appearance of something we didn't talk about for me, and I have Thunderbolts.
Number 8, I have Thunderbolts.
Yes! All right.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ and I. Holy shit. Okay,
So,
crazy.
yeah, so I like this movie. It surprised me in a way I didn't expect. I really like the overall message of it, kind of how we all have like flaws and things we're anxious about and overwhelmed by, and kind of finding those kind of people in your life that you can relate to, and then you can kind of help each other out. And I really like that angle that I wasn't expecting. Even though, like, yeah, I don't know what else to say about the movie because we saw it in, what was that, May, June, something like that.
Yeah, the summer, definitely.
But I just remember just feeling kind of surprised by it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because like the whole gritty but Disney thing is not going to work for like urban crime or like police corruption stuff, but it can pass for a sort of like Jerry Bruckheimer, like a Con Air or like The Rock type movie. Like I don't know. I think Con Air and The Rock, if I'm correct, I think they're rated PG-13. I think both of them. I might be wrong.
Yeah, I think so.
But like this movie kind of fits in that wheelhouse where it's like that kind of movie where it's okay that it's like not super dark or violent or explicit with sex or violence. And it works. Like Thunderbolts, there's so many different variations of the Thunderbolts team in comics, and this team didn't exist in the comics until after this movie. But they really did a fantastic job packing this filled with characters that are likable and memorable from other Marvel projects, but like not big enough to have their own Marvel vehicle.
Yeah, I fully agree with that statement. Yeah.
I mean, I think often about, I mean, for some reason I can't remember any of these fucking actors' names or anything like that. But, Scarlet Witch's sister, Russian Captain America. What's that?
Yelena Belova, Red Guardian.
Yeah, and then also U.S. Agent. I remember that one.
Okay,
John
U.S. Agent. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like those three, just having them is great. But then the chemistry between Yelena and Sentry, great. That's the best part of the whole movie.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And I always remember the audience's reaction when the Void uses his power on that little girl and she just disappears.
Yeah.
And once characters on the team started disappearing, I'm like, oh, they're gonna undo all this. But I think at that point the audience wasn't sure what was gonna happen. And I just always remember people like, oh, when the little girl disappeared.
Yes, I had that exact same reaction as theirs. Like you didn't expect that to happen because of that kind of Disney edgy kidification we keep talking about.
Right.
But you're right. The second that the heroes get, vaporized or whatever you want to call it, we knew they were getting out of it.
Right. So we are 3 out of 3 totally in sync on this list. We're down to our number 7. Is this going to be a 4 for 4? Let's see.
All right, number 7. I have Peacemaker season 2.
First switcheroo. Okay.
Okay.
It's funny because Peacemaker season 2 is my number 6.
Okay, so close.
All right. So go ahead. What do you got to say about Peacemaker season 2?
Yeah, Peacemaker season 2. I enjoyed it. Again, went to places that I wasn't expecting it to. I definitely like the kind of more. I don't want to say it's more sci-fi of a vibe than the first season because it still is an alternate reality. But they took a much more human approach in this season. It was a much more character-driven. With Peacemaker, finding his family, but finding out this kind of horrible side of it. And then also kind of getting it reversed on him as well in a way, because, his dad wasn't like, at first he thought he was happy his dad and brother were there. And then he thought they were Nazis. And then they kind of found out they weren't as bad, or they weren't really fully. And then they were gone. So it was a nice lot of reversals there. I think, it's just, I really enjoyed the character work of this season here. I think they did a good job with Peacemaker and God, I can't remember James Gunn's wife's name.
Harcourt.
And I've really Adebayo is like one of my favorite characters, which is like strange because there's no comic ties really. I don't think Amanda Waller has a daughter in the comics. So, but the friendship between Peacemaker and Adebayo was one of my favorite things in any of the shows we've seen. So, I thought it was a solid season. And I guess that's it for this show, though. Like, there's not going to be more of it. We're going to see these characters again, potentially in other DC movies. But as far as I know, that's it for the Peacemaker show.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's funny because, like, I can't say that, like, every single episode was a solid episode that I thoroughly enjoyed, and it didn't feel like they weren't sure of the direction to go for a couple of episodes there. It has, like, Lex Luthor from the Superman movie show up towards the end, which that was sort of a shocking thing to see. There is this great moment when you find out that they're on this Nazi world, and there's all these reveals kind of being like, it's so obvious they were on this Nazi world. There, of course, because it's James Gunn, there's multiple sequences where there's like a song playing. Often it's a Foxy Shazam song, and the music just syncs up perfectly with the imagery. But then by the time we get to the very end with the last episode, there's that feeling of like, okay, it's about to end, but it doesn't feel like it's really like hit us with some kind of mind-blowing thing. But the introduction of Sanctuary at the end, I thought that was great. And like the way they left Peacemaker, like where he's the first person there in this other dimension, and essentially we're leading up to Salvation Run from DC Comics. That was a nice, exciting little twist at the end there.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of times when there's spin-off shows and they're supposed to somehow catch up to the main entity at some point, the characters from that kind of get diminished a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Peacemaker made a very brief appearance in Superman. And I think one of the biggest examples of this kind of phenomenon is like Gen V and The Boys. Like, the events of The Boys heavily influences Gen V, but Gen V people were like barely in that last season of The Boys. And I feel like that I'm kind of worried that those characters won't really feature in the final season of The Boys.
Right. I agree.
So something like that. So like I'm hoping that the end of the show was Chris and was Peacemaker and Sanctuary, and then all the other characters opened up. It was Checkmate, right?
Checkmate, yes.
Checkmate. And I just hope that that this isn't the last time they're going to get some kind of spotlight, and they're not just going to be in like the background of a scene of another movie somewhere.
I hope the same thing as well. I think that whenever Peacemaker shows up in a movie, it's going to be that we don't know that he's in it, and then when he does, the audience is going to be like, "Oh, they're going to be so excited to see him." Just like they were Superman. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, they could do some interesting things with Checkmate. It's not the team that I would expect with Checkmate.
Yeah.
But if they got some new creator that's really focused on it and they made it like kind of serious, I think that they could make an awesome Checkmate show or movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So you mentioned Boys in the Gen V. Is that your number 6 by any chance?
No. So my next is actually Creature Commandos, and I'm going to call myself out here because this was on my list last year, but technically it didn't finish in 2024. It finished in 2025, so I put it here again.
Okay, that works. So because of that, I figured before the recording you were kind of like, oh, I don't know if I have a lot to say, and then basically I've set it up so that you have to say something first. So I'll do this one, and then you could like give me your response too.
Go for it.
But like for Creature Commandos, I was gonna say that like I did the same exact thing. I put it on this list as well. And even though I think it was probably on our list last year, pretty high. This is kind of a great counterpoint to Peacemaker, where I feel like every episode of this is tighter. And I think every episode has a shorter running time than Peacemaker.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And since there's animation, it kind of negates the main quality that kind of bothers me with Peacemaker, which is sort of the ad-libbing kind of running with the joke. Whereas this, they can't do that because it's animated, you know?
Yeah. I agree. I agree with that statement. I don't mind the ad libs. I think sometimes they kind of add something to it. I always did enjoy the outtakes they would play after the credits in Peacemaker. But Creature Commandos, this was the first thing out of James Gunn's DCU. And we didn't really know what we were going to get, but it was pleasantly surprising. They gave some really great in-depth origin stories for all these characters, an episode at a time, and a lot of surprises. I think this was a lot better than people were expecting it to be. I don't know if it got much recognition or buzz, but I felt very strongly about it when we watched it. So,
yeah, it's my number 5 on my list. So, I mean, I should point out that, like, for me, 7 is Gen V, 6 is Peacemaker, 5 is Creature Commandos for me.
All right, so Gen V is my 5. So we're still pretty close here, I think.
Still pretty close. Yeah.
And, I mean, and you know, going the rest of this, I mean, it's got to be pretty close still. Like, I don't think there's anything else that's going to be drastically different. I'll be very shocked.
Okay. Well, then, so before we move on to Gen V, I just want to point out, because we're talking about Creature Commandos, the other day I was listening to a YouTube video where it's a show that Brent Spiner and Jonathan Frakes are the hosts. It's all about dropping names, and like they have guests come on and they just drop names of people that they've met or know things about. And they had 2 hosts on, 2 guests on as well. One of them was Nathan Fillion, and the other one was Alan Tudyk, or Alan Tudyk. He just got one dick for his Tudyk name. But anyway, just like hearing his voice, I'm like, God damn, he's in so much of this DCU stuff, and I love him.
Yeah. Oh, have you seen? I don't know. There's like a social media thing where Nathan Fillion's going around and talking to people who used to be on Firefly.
Is that their podcast? Because they mentioned their podcast like 80 times.
So Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk have a podcast, and it's. I mean, my best guess is that this is going to be a Firefly reunion on their podcast. So far, they've interacted with Gina Torres. They've tagged Jewel State, but I didn't see a video for that. And then Morena Baccarin.
Yeah, she's cool.
So that's a. I'd be very excited to hear it, and it definitely would get me listening to the podcast, which I didn't know existed beforehand. So.
Yeah, Morena Baccarin's had the biggest career besides Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
And I think that they have a lot going for them because they have James Gunn essentially just giving them cameos like every time he has a project.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so then you had Gen V as your number 5.
Yes.
Okay, why is Gen V number 5 on you?
Thinking back to it, I really gave a lot of the credit for this to the villain, to Cypher. I thought he was such a great villain. And while I saw the twist coming like a mile away, sort of, I mean, well, you did too, I really enjoyed it. I think it made it worth watching. I also think they made Marie, like the central character, like way more interesting and likable in season 2 over season 1. I didn't care as much about the character in season 1 as I did in season 2, but I really did care about all the characters in this show. And like I said before, I'm disappointed that they don't have a larger role in The Boys. I hope there's something more about them in the final season of The Boys than the 4th season, because it was just like Sam and Kate showed up in the background. I don't think they even said anything.
I don't think they did. No.
But yeah, they took the the Boys kind of parody of the X-Men. Did almost nothing like the comic, and somehow made a really great, compelling show with some really great characters that made it feel possibly more like the X-Men than the parody did. Like it really felt like an X-Men TV show, like an off-brand X-Men TV show, and there were a few things that we love more than the X-Men. So
Right, and it's an X-Men TV show where you can get a POV shot from a toilet looking up at a man sitting down.
Yeah.
About to take a shit. Yes. Yeah. And like multiple characters coming out of a character's ass. I mean, yeah, it's definitely sensational and disturbing. It's kind of funny because a few things. The guy who played Sam, he's in Scream 7. I just saw him. I was like, oh, it's that guy from The Boys.
Nice.
You know? Right. And then besides that, the guy that plays Godolkin, who you mentioned before, is like the villain that really kind of sold this season for you. He's in Wicked. I think he plays the guy that becomes the.
Wait, hold on. So the actual Godolkin or the guy or Cypher?
No. The actual Godolkin that shows up for the last like 2 episodes.
Okay, well, I was talking about the guy who played Cypher mostly because I thought he was fantastic the entire show. But the other guy was good too, but not as good to me. Yeah,
Hamish Linklater is Cypher.
Yes, that's right.
And he was in that Batman show that we really liked. And he was in Midnight Mass. Yeah, Midnight Mass, which is just fucking incredible. And he was one of the main.
I gotta watch that.
You do, and because I'm gonna watch Dark soon too. But like that guy that is in Wicked also played like SpongeBob in the SpongeBob like Broadway musical, and I think he like left his pregnant wife for Ariana Grande. You know.
Oh, that's that dude?
I think so. I'm pretty sure. Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's that dude. Yeah. I keep thinking about the thumbnail for our last review of the show because it's him and he's like doing this, and I was thinking about how you said he's basically Apocalypse. You know.
Yeah. Wait a minute. I gotta see this. I gotta see if that's that same guy.
Okay.
Oh God, where? Oh, I gotta click. Why isn't it on the show?
Well, all right. So then, Brian, let's kind of switch it up and do something a little fun. You have 4 left, right?
Yes.
Can I guess?
Didn't rank?
Well, hold on. I want to guess your 4, if that's okay, and then we'll see if it's the same.
Yes. Wait. Give me 1 second here.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Ethan Slater,
man.
Okay.
Guy gets around.
Crazy.
All right. So, is this your final 4? I'm gonna guess. Ready?
Okay.
Invincible season 3, Superman, Predator: Badlands, Andor.
2 of them are switched, but yes.
Okay. What is your final 4 then?
I have Invincible season 3 is 4, Predator: Badlands is 3, Superman is 2, Andor is 1.
Nice.
So we essentially have the same list this year.
Yep. Okay. So a few things, because we can kind of maybe just talk about these in bunches since we've talked about them so much.
Sure.
Predator: Badlands, I talked about in detail with Danny on the Lastercast. If you guys want to see that review, I'd actually love to talk about it with you now. That's what we can maybe focus on. And then I think we should talk about the things that we could have mentioned that are not on this list.
Sure. Which angle you want to take first?
Well, I think the most interesting thing to mention is that Fantastic Four is not on this list at all.
Yes. Yeah. I had a lot of high hopes for it. I really do like the Fantastic Four a lot. I think they're a very hard property to get right. I did like a few things about the movie, but overall felt it was fairly lackluster. Like not after everything we saw, especially coming out 2-3 weeks after Superman, it just felt like a movie that was just there. Didn't do anything horribly wrong, but didn't do anything super right either.
Right, exactly. Just mediocre and kind of forgettable. Dude, I actually fell asleep during it. I don't even think I was that sleep deprived, and I fell asleep during it.
Yeah, I fell asleep. I fell asleep during a part of it too, actually. It was one of the more exciting parts, apparently, too, when they're actually like first meeting Galactus.
Oh shit! I wonder if we fell asleep at the same time. We just had like the same mind, basically.
Maybe.
So,
But yeah,
all right. So that was omitted. What else was omitted?
so I admitted Captain America: Brave New World. At the time, at the beginning of the year, I thought, like, okay, this is fine. It doesn't. I don't think it deserved the hate that it got, but it was just kind of there and fine. And again, you could really tell there were rewrites for that movie, and then they scrambled to change things at some point, and that kind of put it on the lower end of our rankings here. The other things were Star Wars Visions Season 3. If I could have ranked everything, it would have been my lowest. And I think that was merely because we did every episode of that in a row, and I was burnt out of Star Wars Visions. And maybe I may have had a more favorable opinion had I watched just that season this year as opposed to all three.
Right.
And then finally, what I didn't put was Ironheart. And this is the one I struggled the most with over at number 10, I think.
Okay.
I almost had this as number 10 over Last of Us, but I think there were more moments in The Last of Us that were fantastic than things were great about Ironheart. But there were great things about Ironheart. I really, really enjoyed the kind of dynamic that Riri had with her friend that was in the AI suit now. I thought the frenemy kind of antagonist relationship between Obadiah Stane's son and Riri was really interesting too. And I actually thought Mephisto was interesting, and I was surprised at that. I thought that was kind of cool there. And if I had to say a bad thing about it, like maybe that crew that they have was like a little too weird.
Right.
Like it was like trying to stand out and be a little too different, too much. And so it was close though. It really was.
Right. We have different terms and stuff that we use in our lexicon for this show. We use fantasy booking quite a bit. I kind of like this idea of like Disney gritty if we add that to our lexicon. But I think we need a term for like when they're like just kind of trying too hard to be hip or relevant, but at the same time, it's also like this kind of like casting that's, let me see, how can I put this the right way? Like, it's like they want to be as like sensational with the casting or be like, look how modern and like liberal and stuff we are. We'll have like a transgender character, we'll have a gay character, we'll have all these different
I know the word you're trying to dance around so we don't sound like people. But I think what this boils down to is that while I consider myself a very progressive person, I do kind of see when shows try to kind of cater and have inclusiveness for everything, it can kind of be a detriment sometimes.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes this doesn't seem believable. I am all for everyone not being a white person in every show. I'm totally for that. But when every character is something different, is to check some box. And I understand representation. I totally get it. Seeing some facet of yourself represented in something, especially when you've been horribly deprived of it your entire life, unlike white men like us, I totally get that. But I do think that sometimes there's got to be some kind of a balance somewhere where what's best for a story kind of takes precedence, maybe. And not to saying that means having an all white cast. I don't mean that. But like, I don't think every friend group needs to have like a white person, a black person, an Asian person, a gay person, a trans person. Like it doesn't, it's unrealistic, I think. And
right.
Right.
And there is like a deliberate feeling when you're watching something where they're like, oh, we made it a purpose to make sure it's like as diverse as possible. Like we're trying to show that we're being as inclusive as possible. Because I mean, if you look at the majority of the things that are on this list, every cast is diverse. Every cast is diverse. There's nothing on here that's like, oh, it's mainly white people. Peacemaker, Daredevil Born Again, Last of Us. Sure, there's like a main white person in most of these, but like the majority of the cast have like people from all different ethnicities. It's just you don't care because it's not like they're not like hanging it in your face. Whereas I think that's one of the problems that Ironheart had, you know. And here's the thing, like they try to do the Marvel gritty thing, like to have this sort of like, oh, here are the struggles of an African American woman, and there's this sort of like, you know, criminal element to it. If you make it with this sort of like Marvel gritty veneer, it just feels so fucking lame and fake. Whereas if it was like something that was on HBO and you could have like people cursing all the time and like it would just seem much more natural.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, so okay, so we could talk about Ironheart a little bit more when we do our MCU rankings after this, but let's just kind of hit some points. So Invincible, I'm guessing that the reason why you didn't have it as like number one on here is because just Invincible is like consistently good, and so they all kind of blend together over time. Don't you kind of feel?
Yeah. So the problem I have with Invincible is everything about it is fantastic. I mean, I still strongly believe that the fight between Mark and Omni-Man and his dad in season 1 was the series highlight, where he says, "What would you have in 500 years? You still have me." That is like a highlight, top 10 moment in anything ever kind of thing for me. And but other than that, everything is super incredibly consistent. And the other issue is that I read every issue of Invincible in a very short span. So everything lumps together to me, and I don't remember what happens in what season.
Right. I mean, what's memorable about this particular season and what really stands out is like there's a great arc with Rexplode where it kind of shows him maturing, and then he has this like heroic sacrifice at the end of this season. It's great stuff. Great voice acting from Jason Desmucus or whatever.
Jason Mantzoukas, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm mixing them up with some guy from Saturday Night Live. But it's just a great show overall. I'm super fucking excited about season 4.
Although season 4 is going to have your least favorite Invincible plotline.
Oh, Dinosaurus?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, yeah, but they have like Clancy Brown or something as Dinosaurus.
No, Clancy Brown is that like devil detective guy.
That's right.
I don't know, but yeah,
they have Lee Pace, I think, is that Viltrumite guy that's like a real
the leader.
Bragg, I think.
Bragg, yeah, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so then we have Superman. I feel like we talked about Superman like a lot when we had Superman. We had Mike Bongiorno on there for our review.
Yes.
Let's just kind of let's do this. Let's talk about. Let's just say the sentence we have to say for Andor. Unless you have anything to add to this, here's the thing about Andor. Andor is this weird fucking fluke where it's like, how did this get made? How did they make it for 2 seasons? It is so fucking solid. It's so much better than pretty much everything on this list that we mentioned. It's better than the majority of stuff that we've covered. It's one of the best things in Star Wars ever. Like, how could it not be number 1?
Andor is possibly the greatest paradox I've ever seen.
Right.
Simply because it somehow makes every other related Star Wars property better, but at the same time worse because it doesn't live up to what it is.
Excellent point. Yes.
That's why that's all I have to say about Andor.
Good.
And again, I never ever would have expected. Like I distinctly remember we were struggling to find things to cover, and then Andor's coming out and like Penguin's coming out, and we're like, oh, I guess we'll cover these. And both of those things ended up being amazing. So
two of the best things. Yep.
So yeah, and I just do want to briefly just say, Superman was the movie I needed at that moment. It is the whole idea of hope. Kindness is the new punk rock. I needed it, and I need more of it.
Yeah. I think we need another one of those Superman movies like today.
Yeah. Well, we have Supergirl coming up, so although that's gonna have a different feel to it. So.
Yeah. Not James Gunn, more Tom King, so it'll actually be kind of more depressing. But whatever, we'll deal with that when it comes out. So then we got this movie that we didn't cover on this channel, but I think that like it's number 2 on my list for the year. It might have been, was it It was my fucking number 2 on the Lastercast for the year too.
And it's funny too because it is the furthest thing from horror, the furthest Predator movie from horror in the entire franchise by a mile.
Right. It's basically like an 80s, early 90s sci-fi adventure movie, and it is fucking
totally, and that's why it's great. It really surprised me. I went into it late. I did want to see it. I had also watched the other Predator animated movie on Hulu last year.
Killer Killers.
That was fine, but it didn't really hype me up for this like it could have. But yeah, I just they have a Predator as the protagonist. They have a character that doesn't speak an understandable language as the main character, and it worked. They pulled it off. They made me care from the get-go. Having the synth companion, having that slight tie-in to the Alien franchise, amazing. I was just blown away by the movie. I really was. I was completely underestimating it, and it was completely blew me away.
Yeah, and it is a beautiful, epic movie too. Like, there's a shot like in the middle of the movie where the Predator is like carrying Elle Fanning like on his back, and they're just like walking along the countryside, and you can tell that it's a shot that, even though it's got like CG elements in it or whatever, like they filmed it on a real location, and they're playing this sort of like somber traveling music. It feels like something out of Lord of the Rings in that moment.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's really good. But I remember because I saw it twice in theaters. Like, the very first shot is like you're like looking through. There's like a rock structure or whatever, and you're like looking through a hole in the structure, and then you cut from that to a lizard on the ground, and then the Predator flies over it and like cuts it with its sword or its claws. It's just like so epic. It's like the cutscene for a video game that you're like really excited to play, like the first scene, and that's the whole movie.
That was what I said. I watched that movie with my son, and that's what I said. Like, this is like the best video game I can't play.
Right. So yeah, great fucking movie. If you like, go check out my review with Danny on Predator Badlands. I recommend you guys check out my our review of Superman. That was another one. I think Mike Bongiorno came on that one too. That was pretty extensive. And then, this year coming up, we're probably going to throw Fallout on our top 10 when it comes out. And then I think that might be it for this year. Brian and I wanted to just do our like Marvel show ranking, just so you guys know, like off top, kind of where we're at. I have 16 on here, but I wonder what
No, I have 18.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have.
I split I split Loki into two things, so maybe that's
okay. Then I have 17, right? Because I didn't put X-Men.
Did you count Wonder Man?
I got Wonder Man on here. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're good because I have 17 without splitting Loki.
All right, so I think we should kind of like rifle through this here because we're getting to 45 minutes here. So I'll just start from the bottom here. So I have What If at the bottom. This is the one animated thing we've covered. There's a whole bunch of things we haven't covered that we haven't watched. Maybe we should mention those actually. So we only watched the first 2 seasons of What If, maybe even the first. I don't know. We definitely didn't do.
I watched all 3.
You watched all 3. I didn't watch the third one. We didn't cover Marvel Zombies. I didn't watch that either. We didn't cover Eyes of Wakanda, and we didn't cover Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So all animated things. And the one thing we did start with was What If, because that was the first one. There was a gap in things, and the first season was fine, I think. And I don't know, maybe I just don't like third seasons of animated shows. I don't know.
Dude, I got mad at myself for watching the third season of this show. I was like, oh God.
That was probably the straw that like broke the camel's back when it made me no, I'm not gonna watch this.
Yeah. And the problem is that like that's the person that's the showrunner for the next season of X-Men 97.
Yeah, I know. Oh man. Yeah. Okay. So that was my number 18. Then after that, I dropped this down as Secret Invasion. I had this a tiny bit higher the last time we ranked, and I just thought about it more and more, and I'm like, no, this goes down there. Moon Knight, which is to me possibly the most disappointing show in this entire list because I really like Moon Knight, and I just this was not a comic Moon Knight at all. This is something kind of different, and I didn't appreciate it. After that, I have Miss Marvel. I didn't dislike it. I didn't love it. It was okay. It's kind of there. It had some moments. I do like the character and all that. After that, I have Echo, which was better than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
But I still have it kind of low. Next, I have She-Hulk. We all know everybody doesn't like that show. I think I liked it better than most, but it is still low on my list. Next, I have Ironheart. I hope nobody's reading into the fact that these are all female superheroes kind of at the bottom of the list. But I don't dislike these shows. They're just a little bit lower for me, I guess. I don't know. Next.
It's okay. Yeah.
Do you have any comments? Should I keep going or?
Well, okay. No, I kind of want to compare it to my list too for a second, but I think here's the thing. This is one of the things we have to point out. Brian and I are like super liberal. We just, we care about everybody. We're not going to judge anyone based on their skin color, where they come from, anything, their sexual preference. We're not those kind of people. If you want to make some kind of argument against us, you're wasting your time. But I think that the problem is that with media, a lot of times companies will try to use that card to be like, that's the reason why people don't like this, is because it's got women of color or the main cast are women. Like, we put Gen V on here. It's got a very diverse
cast. That's almost completely female cast. All the main characters are female in that.
Right, exactly. So, like, some of these shows, it comes down to the quality of the show. Yeah. And so, just so you can just kind of see how similar we are, I have 17 versus 18 on here. I have Secret Invasion as the lowest of the low. I think that's just a dreary, depressing, pointless show. Then I have What If. We had just talked about that. I have She-Hulk lower than you. That is my number 15 on my list. Moon Knight is my 14. And then I have Ironheart and Echo higher up. My number 12 is Hawkeye, which I know you and I are going to.
Yeah, I like Hawkeye. I think it kind of nailed it. It's not as good as the Matt Fraction, David Aja source material, but I do like it. Yes.
All right, keep going with your list. And why don't you knock off the next 5?
Okay, so at 11, I have Falcon and Winter Soldier. Again, I liked it, but it didn't really move the needle all that much. Okay. But I do like Sam as Captain America a lot. I really do think he does a great job at that. It's just they need to give him better material. Totally. I would say I like Falcon and Winter Soldier better than Brave New World. I will say that.
Same here.
Next, I have the special presentation, Werewolf by Night. And I think I really liked it. It is kind of like low budget in a way, but in a kind of endearing way. And it's really kind of sitting where it is because it's only one 45-minute episode thing. Right. Had there been more of it, or it potentially could have been anywhere else. I don't know. Next, I have Loki season 1. I do like Loki season 1 a lot, but and I separated these seasons because I feel like season 2 is a different animal. Next, I have Daredevil Born Again season 1, and that no, that's not 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then to round out the next 5, I have the Guardians Holiday Special. Again, enjoyed it. Wasn't mind blowing, but the fact that it's a small piece of something kind of limits it in a way.
Okay. So then my 11 to 5 is 11's Ironheart, 10 is Echo, 9 is Ms. Marvel, 8 is Daredevil Born Again, 7 is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, 6 is the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, 5 is Werewolf by Night.
Okay, so pretty close here. So I only went to 7 there. So I actually this is where we're going to differ. So I dropped WandaVision down to 6.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Wow.
And then at 5, I actually put Agatha All Along above it.
What? Okay.
Wow. That show was way better than it had any right to be.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. I got you.
And yeah, I feel like, and the sole reason I have Agatha All Along above WandaVision is because I think Agatha All Along kind of stuck the landing with the ending, and WandaVision kind of fizzled out at the ending. That's really the only thing. The premise of WandaVision is amazing. The journey you go through is great with all the different TV shows. It's brilliant, and really, it's just the fact that it's just like how it ended just didn't feel good or great. It just felt like very predictable in a way. And it's not exciting. Like it didn't live up to everything that it had before to me.
Look, I mean, I'm not going to deny anything you said, man. I'm actually kind of curious about the rest of your list. What number did that bring you up to then?
So that was 5. I have Agatha All Along as 5 there. So I have 4 more left to say.
Yeah, let's just knock them out, man. Let's see how similar they are to mine.
So Hawkeye, I have a 4. That used to be my number 1. I did knock it down for this. It's one of my favorite comic runs in Marvel, period. I know Jeremy Renner is not anything like that version of Hawkeye in the comics. But I love the character of Kate Bishop so much. I think Haley Steinfeld is fantastic. And that's kind of what I was really basing it on. I think it did a good job of adapting it as we could in the MCU and with the differences of the MCU versus the comics.
I completely agree with that.
I have number 3, I have Wonder Man. I just really enjoyed Wonder Man. Something totally different, almost nothing like the comics, as we just talked about in previous episodes here. So I'm not going to stay there. I have Loki season 2 at number 2. That to me is a high point of live action Marvel, I think. I'm sorry, live action Marvel shows.
Right.
It took things to a bigger scale. And it just worked. It made me like the character of Loki even more than I did before. And then number 1, X-Men 97. You don't top that.
Right. Yeah, nothing tops that. Right. Okay, so kind of similar. My 4 is Wonder Man, so it's one off from yours. I got Agatha All Along as my number 3.
Okay.
Loki as a whole, first season and second season, becomes my number 2, and then X-Men 97 is my number 1 as well.
Yeah, if you want to roll them up into 2, I'll just happily put Loki at 2 also. I mean,
yeah. So, I mean, what's interesting about this list when we go through it is the amount of planting of Young Avenger characters, right? Because there's some characters that aren't on that original Young Avengers team, but like they could easily just put in there. You got Ironheart could be on there. You have a younger version of White Tiger, right?
Yeah. Yes, it was his niece.
His niece
Maya.
Right. She could be on the Young Avengers. Then of course you have Speed and Wiccan from Agatha, and then also from WandaVision, and then you have you could have like a kid Loki or a younger Loki from Loki, and then Ms. Marvel obviously would be on the team. Then of course Kate Bishop. So you have like a full Young Avengers roster, and I feel like they're just letting them grow old and not.
Yeah, they. We would. They didn't do enough with Patriot. Is it Eli? Eli Bradley? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, like he was in Falcon and Winter Soldier, but that was kind of it. There was no indication of him doing anything else, but that's another character they had appear. And really the only one they didn't have appear was like Hulkling and I guess Iron Lad to kind of round out the original Young Avenger comic cast. I don't know how they would do Iron Lad now at this point, but I guess Ironheart fills that role of the Iron Man stand-in well enough.
Yeah.
And then I guess they had Scar and not Scar. Is this? Yeah, they had Scar and She-Hulk.
Right.
But I don't know if that's a good enough stand-in for Hulkling. I don't see it because you kind of need you need Wiccan and Hulkling. You can't get around that.
Right. And I mean, they could do some kind of like thing where they switch it up and they make Scar be like he is actually Hulkling and he's like a Skrull Kree mixed thing like he is in the comics. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe he's saying he's Scar, but he's really this other character.
But Billy's boyfriend was Eddie, not Teddy. So maybe there's some kind of hidden thing there, but that's probably just a nod.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like that's so everyone knows our MCU rankings. We have more coming out this year. We have Daredevil Born Again coming out once again. And then I think
and The Boys season 5.
Well, yeah, that's the other stuff. But I was thinking about MCU shows. Like, is there an X-Men 97 part 2?
Yes, X-Men 97 season 2 will be this year. We don't have a date yet. And then for Marvel, we'll just have Spider-Man, Brand New Day. And then Doomsday. That's it for Marvel this year, I think, for us.
Those are pretty big movies, though. I'm actually like really curious. I would love to see a Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer right now.
Yes, I would too.
Yeah.
And then I think is this for DC? Is it just Supergirl this year?
No, isn't it the Lantern show too?
Oh, Lantern. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. We got it covered. Nice. Yeah, so we got that in there at the very end where it's just a bunch of old middle-aged guys trying to remember things like, oh yeah, this is coming out. Yeah. But no, I had fun going through this, Brian. It's good just housekeeping, just kind of going through and showing how we feel about each things. And apparently you and I are on the same page often.
Yes. Yeah, this was the closest list our list ever came, I think.
Yes.
Speaking of our top 20 of 2025.
Yes. And usually Brian and I usually do come close together too. So anyway, we got to get going. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'm not topping that one. That's what she said. We'll see you guys later.